Next on News 10 at 11, they will not be forgotten. The firefighters who give their all and how it is the families they leave behind say they understand.
Flu vaccines in short supply, people willing to stand in line for a shot at staying well.
You're watching News 10 with Dana Howard and Alicia Malaby. This is News 10 at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We're going to wind down this Saturday night on a somber tone because it's been a day for many people just to stop, take a moment, and remember.
It was time not just to pay respects, but to also say thank you to over a dozen firefighters who gave California their all. So at the Capitol this morning, a ceremony was held to pay well-deserved tribute to California's firefighters, 13 of them who over the past year and a half died while they fought to keep the public out of danger. Firefighter Stephen Rucker was one of them, killed while battling the Southern California firestorm last year. CDF firefighter ever.
As he could have faced the cost to fight the fire.
Well, you think with a little bit of rain overnight that we would be out of the woods.
There was a little bit of rain this morning, but it was
the battle against cancer.
He had sprayed Agent Orange on fuel breaks to create defensible space around buildings, and unfortunately that chemical caused cancer in his body.
The last alarm sounding for Rucker, Scheike, for 13 men and women who will never be forgotten. Friends and family taking memories, asking others to give thanks.
And if they see a firefighter someday, thank them for their service.
When they drive by or when you see them in the grocery store, stop and wave.
The names of 24 other firefighters were also added to the memorial. They were submitted after last year's dedication. The memorial now bears the name of 950 firefighters.
Long lines and long waits. That's what a lot of people here in Sacramento are contending with now that there's a severe shortage of flu shots across the nation. News 10's Jonathan Misaki joins us now live with more on what people are doing to get vaccinated. Jonathan?
Well, good evening, Alicia. You know, earlier this morning, this Albertsons in Midtown Sacramento looked like a huge sale was going on, and that could have been the case. However, most of the people that were waiting outside didn't really have triple coupon savings on their mind. Tilly Vining may have had to wait in line for hours, but she's not complaining. She's one of the few people who got one of the few flu shots available.
Oh, I'm so happy I got it. Really, I had to wait 2 hours.
Clifford Bleichert shares the same emotion.
I think I was very lucky I'm here. I have the flu shot. I'm very lucky. Very lucky indeed.
Normally, you don't often hear people say they're lucky they've just been poked by a needle. This flu season, however, is far from normal.
I think, though, that this situation really demonstrates how fragile our system of vaccine distribution is in the United States.
A new state order mandates that flu shots be limited to the elderly, children under 2, pregnant women, healthcare workers, and those who have pre-existing health conditions. Several people who do not fit the bill had mixed reactions to not being able to get vaccinated.
Being very health conscious, it's not something that I worry about, and I've been told that it's older people, people who are in more need of it, that they should take priority. So for a young adult, it doesn't worry me at all.
Once you get sick nowadays, it's definitely hard to get rid of. I think any help they can give the people to get them would be great.
You know, maybe if I had a child, I would be more concerned. I think parents of babies and toddlers probably would be concerned. So yeah, it would be nice if we had more.
And speaking of more, if you want to find out more information on how you can get a flu shot if you fit the qualifications, why don't you log on to news10.net, go to our links page, and we'll provide you some information on some future clinics that will be available in the near future. Live in Midtown Sacramento, I'm Jonathan Misaki, News 10, back to you.
And Jonathan, are we hearing anything from state health officials about additional doses of the vaccine being distributed?
Well, you know, state health officials had a press conference to discuss that possibilities about what they can do, and right now they really don't have any definitive plans in the works. However, they say they will be in touch with the federal government on seeing what type of alternatives are available, and they hope to have that information out very, very soon. Alicia?
All right. Thanks, Jonathan.
The political spin cycle was up and running again today as both presidential candidates hit the campaign trail. Senator Kerry appeared confident with no signs of wear after last night's second presidential debate. He told the crowd that he's 2-0 and is looking forward to debate number 3.
Let go of your anger.
Okay.
Show who you really are. You're beautiful, exciting, fun.
Pipe down. You are gushing more than a busload of priests at a Little League game.
President Bush, meantime, fired back, buffered by better reviews of his performance in this second debate. The president made campaign swings today through 3 key states. He called Senator Kerry's statements not credible, questioning his promise not to raise taxes on those making less than $200,000 a year. Statistical dead heat in the race. Kerry leading with 44%, Bush with 41%, and 13% called the contest a tie. The margin of error is 3%.
Laurie Hacking's body is now at last laid to rest. This afternoon, a funeral was held, and Hacking's parents buried their daughter, who police claim was murdered by her husband, Mark Hacking. Police in Orem, Utah spent 3 weeks searching by hand through a garbage dump until last week they uncovered her body. Investigators believe her husband killed Hacking over the summer and then dumped her body into a trash bin. She was 27. Mark Hacking is in jail charged with murder. His next court date is October 29th.
Rape victims and convicts will have greater access to DNA testing under legislation passed by Congress. A bill also means DNA testing for death row and prison inmates, and it allocates money for unprocessed rape evidence kits. It also provides money for better legal representation in capital punishment cases. President Bush is expected to sign the bill.
Well, it is something that many Americans may take for granted, but today, citizens of Afghanistan headed to the polls to elect a president for the very first time.
Fighting Alzheimer's polling place. However, his rivals called the election a sham and urged civil disobedience. And there was another problem. A pen used to mark voters to make sure no one cast ballots twice was supposed to be indelible ink, but instead it washed off.
Well, here on this side of the world, the skies over San Francisco today were filled with planes soaring high. This kicks off Fleet Week in the Bay Area. The Canadian acrobatic flying team, the Snowbirds, today took to the skies. Tomorrow they'll be back in the air. Crowds also gathered at the waterfront for fireworks and live music. Now, hundreds of people put their best foot forward today in Sacramento to raise money to battle Alzheimer's. The 12th annual Memory Walk raises money to help an estimated 40,000 Sacramento area families. Alzheimer's is a progressive disease of the brain that takes away its victims' memories and as well their ability to care for themselves. Many of the people taking part in the walk today have been touched by the disease in some way.
I am personally affected by this disease.
There's opposition to 2 gambling expansion measures is paying off.
Provided a perfect backdrop for the Sacramento Arts and Wine Festival. This is the first annual event featuring arts, entertainment, and of course, wine. The festival is being held right in the middle of Capitol Mall. It's celebrating the region's wine industry and cultural assets. The event is free to the public and continues tomorrow from 10 to 5. Spirited music and colorful costumes set the stage for the 15th annual Serbian Food Festival. The festival features Serbian music and, of course, Serbian cuisine, including lamb, pork, and cabbage rolls. Proceeds from the food festival go toward the restoration of the 12th century style frescoes at the Serbian Orthodox Church of the Assumption in Fair Oaks. Wow, beautiful. The festival continues tomorrow from noon to 5 p.m.
I've been to the church, but I've never had Serbian food to at least know it.
Oh.
Have you?
No, I haven't. Cabbage rolls sound pretty good, though.
Well, we make our own kind of cabbage rolls, but
it sounds good.
I don't know if it's Serbian style.
I'm not too sure. Hey, you know what would be fun this weekend? To fly a kite, because it's going to be windy. We already had the winds today. The winds are already there, continuing tonight, and they're going to be kicking up tomorrow. Very strong wind. How strong? I'll let you know. That's coming up in weather. Stay with us.
News 10's Jennifer Smith. We can reduce our risk of heart disease. It's up to all women to ask questions. Talk with our doctor. Make sure annual checkups include a check of your blood pressure and cholesterol levels. Heart health, it's what we mean by Go Red for Women with the American Heart Association. For tips, go to news10.net.
And now, this is News 10 at 11.
They reach speeds over 200 miles per hour, and they're great if you're afraid of heights. News 10 photojournalist Rich Raymond takes us out for a day of fun flight with the Woodland Davis Aero Modelers.
Cool.
Yeah.
Exhilarating.
Awesome.
I've been flying radio control for about 10 years now. I built it in about 3 months. You're looking at about a $30,000 model there, and of pretty much full-time work. And it goes pretty fast. It's an easy kit to build. It's just daunting. It's like building a light aircraft that you fly in yourself.
It's a lot harder than flying a real airplane. Fully composite airplane. There's no wood built up on the wings. These are done in a mold. This is a prototype airplane. It's all fiberglass composite work with internal structure as far as plywood for the bulkheads and major bulkheads. Landing gear is all run pneumatic off of pressurized air cylinders. These airplanes need to have brakes. The wind make it tough flying today?
It's kind of challenging. You can see it buffeting up there. You keep the airspeed up, keep the power on at final approach, and it's all good.
Round of applause for the landing. The event is free to the public. It continues tomorrow. Those are some pretty pricey planes, aren't they?
$30,000? You don't crash that one.
No, you don't. Oops.
You will feel it.
That would be a hard one to explain. Well, they had some great weather for that today after the rain, the sprinkles last night. Did you hear it on the rooftop?
It felt like fall for the first time this year. Yeah, it was
Football
nice.
weather. It was
J.D.
nice.
Morris over in the Weather Center right now and let us know how much more fall we're going to get.
We have fall again. I tell you, the big story tomorrow night at 5 and 6, we'll be talking about a wind event. We might even be calling it a wind storm. Very strong gusty winds are on the way. Out here over the west, you can see the bottom edge of that frontal system now moving in through Utah and the Silver State. We also have to talk about tropical depression Matthew. Was a tropical storm. You can see a lot of moisture now moving down into the Gulf Coast state. They don't really need it anymore, but they are getting it tonight. As you can see, more tonight and even through tomorrow. So tropical storm, tropical depression now, Matthew. 78 was the forecast high. That's exactly what we got today. And here are some more high temperatures for you as we look outside. The wind's blowing right now, and that's what we're focusing on this evening. 78 the high in Sacramento, Stockton 77, Modesto got to 75 degrees, Marysville 76, 79 in Fairfield with a windy day. In Lake Tahoe, you got to 61 degrees. Right now on News 10 Live Weather, we have 60-degree weather, 63 in Elk Grove, Stockton 65, Modesto, it is 63 degrees, 48 degrees up at Pollock Pines. And News 10 Live Doppler radar is all clear, nothing left up in the foothills. That's great news. Well, here we call them hurricanes, but in Japan, they call them typhoons. The most powerful typhoon to hit Japan's Pacific coastline in a decade made landfall today, unleashing gales and blinding sheets of rain that grounded planes and flooded homes and triggered mudslides. One person has died and another is missing. Mayon, which means horse saddle in Cantonese, was the record 8th typhoon to reach Japan's shores this year. Very powerful. Back home, no winds like that. But we have winds north-northwest at Marysville to 18 miles per hour. San Francisco out of the west to 14. Stockton, the wind's blowing there to 16 miles per hour and down to 15. Nice in Sacramento, but again, it's all going to change because as that front leaves us, high pressure builds, and the National Weather Service is in charge of putting out the watches and warnings and advisory. It's our job to bring it to you. Red flag warning for tomorrow and for the Columbus Day holiday. Look at this now. We have a wind advisory for most of the Central Valley, even into the foothills, down into the Bay Area. Gusts 40 to possibly 45 miles per hour. The wind direction around an area of high pressure moves clockwise as opposed to a low that moves counterclockwise. And so those downsloping winds will increase, intensify, and will also warm our temperatures from the temperatures we saw today. A little bit warmer tomorrow, about 3 or 4 degrees. And in Solano and Yolo County, Vacaville 83, north winds 15 to 30, gusting quite possibly to 40. And in the Gold Country, it'll be a nice day, mostly sunny. Winds we'll see down in the San Joaquin Valley again up to 40 miles per hour. Down in the Central Valley here, we'll see 15 to 30 mile per hour winds from the north, again gusts to 40. Oroville 84, Auburn 81 with a strong north-northwest wind. Roseville 82 degrees. Gold Country weather looking good, but it will also be windy there. West-northwest 15 to 25 and a mostly sunny day. Over the ridge tops, they could see gusts exceeding 50 miles per hour in the mountains. There's the rest of your forecast. Holiday on Monday looks good, but the winds will start to subside. Tuesday, the winds are out of here. Temperatures to the mid to low 80s, which is just about normal. That's Thursday at 82. So get ready for the winds. Dana and Leisha.
All right, JD, thank you. Well, naturally occurring asbestos can be found in most California counties, but the aggressive development in El Dorado County makes asbestos there especially worrisome. It's turning up in places no one expected. When county planners approved this large housing development called the Promontory, they relied on a geologist's opinion that there would be no asbestos underneath. But asbestos has turned up in several places at the Promontory, and one neighbor wonders how much of it her family has been breathing.
They've been doing dynamite for, I think, at least 5 months. When you hear the horn, it means cover your ears. This is all dust from the construction, probably in the past week. This is what we have.
Sunday night on News 10 at 11, we'll take an in-depth look at the asbestos issue in El Dorado County. We'll see as well why residents there are looking for answers and are having trouble getting them.
Brian May joins us now. Pretty busy day in college football.
Lots of college football to talk about. You remember former Raiders head coach Bill Callahan? Wait till you hear how his night went tonight. Lots of college football to talk about when we come back. Plus, the ALCS is set. The NLCS is still wide open, and the Dodgers have ended a long, long postseason drought. Stay tuned. Sports after this.
While some fans say they're willing to dish out the extra cash to watch their team, others are not happy about it.
So I just switched from DirecTV just to Comcast just because of that. I think it's a great idea. I think it's awesome, and I think the whole Sacramento, majority of Sacramento, is going to take Comcast just because of that.
I think it's great, and I think as a Sacramento person and as a fan of the Kings that it's great because then we'll be able to get to watch the games, but I don't think that as Sacramentans we should have to pay to see these games.
Some local bars are also facing a problem since many managers we talked to tonight say they do not subscribe to Comcast and will be forced to get that service to attract fans. And by the way, speaking about the games that'll be on News 10, if you want to find out a complete schedule about that, you can log on to news10.net and you can look for the links page and you'll find a complete schedule of when you can see the Kings games right here on News 10. Live in Sacramento, I'm Jonathan Masaki, News 10, back to you.
All right, very good. Well, the high winds and low humidity are increasing the fire danger. Crews in Sacramento scramble to put out this fire burning through dry grass near 47th Avenue and 14th Street. At one point, flames did threaten structures. Fortunately, firefighters got it out quickly. The cause is still under investigation. Now, strong winds also fueled a small grass fire in Yolo County. That blaze burned near the UC Davis landfill. More than 4 agencies were called in to stomp out the flames. News 10's Monica Diaz is live in Yolo County with the latest. Monica?
Dana, fire crews are still out here down this road, keeping a close eye on those hot spots, cleaning up, and of course, putting water on those hot spots. And of course, it took them about more than 2 hours to contain and control this fire. The problem, the wind. A fast-moving blaze on County Road 98 and Hutchinson Drive near the UC Davis landfill. Crews arrived on scene around 9 Sunday morning. They quickly jumped on the fire, trying to put out the flames, but not an easy job. A stubborn fire, strong winds fueling the flames. UC Davis Fire forced to call other departments for help.
When it's this windy, obviously you've got some conditions that can change very, very rapidly on you. And again, with that smoke, the heavy smoke, the fast-moving fire, we really want to make sure that we're keeping the firefighters safe.
And after an hour, the team got the upper hand. They took more than 2 hours to put this fire out. This blaze destroyed about 60 to 70 acres and one shed. No damage to the university's fish hatchery. No cause yet on this fire, but UC Davis Fire is investigating. Live in Yolo County, Monica Diaz, News 10.
All right, thank you, Monica.
There was a deadly shooting overnight in a downtown Sacramento parking garage. Police say 3 people got into an argument on the first floor of the parking structure on J and 4th Streets. One of them pulled out a handgun and shot 24-year-old Arthur Haygood to death. The suspects tried to get away and kept going when police confronted them at the parking structure's exit. During a short chase, the suspects tossed a gun out of the window, but police were able to recover it. Frederick Maurice Baker will be charged with murder. He apparently knew the victim. Another suspect, Claudie Johnson, is under arrest on an unrelated warrant. This coming week begins a critical chapter in the double murder trial of Scott Peterson. On Tuesday in Redwood City, the defense finally begins presenting its case to the jury. And that comes after prosecutors took almost 5 months, 174 witnesses trying to convince jurors that Peterson killed his wife, Lacey, and their unborn son. The prosecutor's theory is that Scott Peterson's affair with Amber Frey motivated him to kill his pregnant wife. But defense attorney Mark Garagos is already trying to turn that around, revealing that while Scott Peterson was married, he had even more affairs before Amber Frey.
And now they want to point out that, look, this has happened over and over and over again. It's never been a motive for murder before. Why should it be a motive for murder now?
We'll have more on how the defense might make its case and recap how effective prosecutors have been in our Massive Monday reports tomorrow on News 10 Good Morning.
Congress will now hear testimony from executives at the Chiron Corporation about the problems the company is having producing flu vaccine. Chiron is based in Emeryville in the Bay Area, but company officials blame problems at its British factory for the holdup in releasing flu vaccine in adequate amounts. In fact, health officials in England cited the company for potential contamination issues and suspended its license to manufacture vaccine at the Liverpool plant. About half of America's supply of flu vaccine is provided by Chiron. Naturally occurring asbestos can be found in most California counties, but the aggressive development in El Dorado County makes asbestos there especially worrisome. It's turning up in places that few people expected. When county planners approved this large housing development called the Promontory, they relied on a geologist's opinion that there would be no asbestos underneath. But asbestos has turned up in several places at the Promontory, and one neighbor wonders how much of it her family has been breathing.
They've been doing dynamite for, I think, at least 5 months. When you hear the horn, it means cover your ears. This is all dust from the construction, probably in the past week. This is what we have.
Tonight on News 10 at 11, we'll take an in-depth look at the asbestos issue in El Dorado County. We'll see why residents looking for answers are having trouble getting any.
The city of Elk Grove is growing so quickly by next spring. The school district there is expected to have the largest enrollment in Northern California. Between now and 2009, the district plans to open 20 new schools at a cost of $500 million. Right now, enrollment is at 58,500 by 2010. Enrollment is predicted to reach 80,000 students. Even with rapid growth, the district maintains some of the highest test scores in our area.
Growing by leaps and bounds, that is for sure. Well, brides-to-be get ready for their big day, and at the same time, they help someone fight for their life.
And tonight's student scholar has bonsai on the mind, plus a few other things. We're going to meet him next on News 10 at 6.
Hi, I'm Dale Shornack.
I'm Christina Mendonca. Coming up next on News 10 at 5, a hero on and off the big screen. The world remembers Christopher Reeve.